Discover the shocking secret Jesus revealed at 3 a.m. about strength and resilience. The clock struck 3 as shadows danced wildly around the empty church, filled only with the faint flicker of candlelight. It was a time when the veil between worlds thinned, and in the stillness, a whisper echoed through the very stones, promising the incredible or the terrifying. Eyewitnesses spoke of strange occurrences, unexplainable lights, ghostly figures prowling the pews, and dark omens that had gripped the small town like a vice. As Emily entered the old church that night, her heart raced. The heavy wooden door creaked ominously behind her, sealing off the world as an icy breeze whispered secrets through the cracked glass windows. She felt it an undeniable pull, an urge to uncover whatever mystery lay hidden. She recalled the tales of her grandmother, stories of visions at 3 in the morning that changed lives, and now here she was, ready to challenge the unknown. Moments later, the air thickened, a chilling silence consumed her. It was unsettling, like being watched, yet she felt an odd sense of purpose. Dust motes swirled like tiny souls, and just when she'd convinced herself to leave, it happened. A gentle voice, soothing yet sharp, echoed off the walls. "What will you sacrifice for strength?" it asked, sending shivers cascading down her spine. Emily's mind raced, heart pounding. What did that mean? What was at stake? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Emily stood frozen, the tremors in her hands betrayed her fear. The flickering candlelight flickered erratically, casting grotesque shadows that seemed to dance in response. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was stirring in the depths of her soul. Would she have the courage to listen? What would this message unfold? Or was she sealing her own fate by asking questions that shouldn't be asked? The doors slammed shut with a resounding boom, echoing through the pews like a thunderclap. The whisper returned, louder now, almost demanding. "Face it before it's too late." Her breath hitched. This was just getting started. What lay ahead? What revelation would await Emily just moments after the witching hour? The air crackled with tension, heavy and electric. Emily's heart raced as panic clawed at her throat. The whisper, no, it was more than that. It was a command. One that seemed to reverberate deep within the very bones of the ancient church. She felt it. The walls were alive, pressing in with secrets waiting to emerge. Face it before it's too late. The voice twisted around her, strands of sound spiraling through the dim light, filling every corner with a pervasive dread. She could almost hear the pulse of shadows pressing against her, as if they were urging her to escape yet imploring her to stay, but what was there to face? The shadows danced behind her eyes, revealing glimpses of her past regrets and losses, failures that haunted her each day. Her parents, their laughter now but a memory drowned in sadness. Her dreams, ambitions that had withered under the weight of self-doubt. Sacrifice, she murmured to herself, the word echoing in her mind. What would she give up for strength? It was a peculiar idea, one that felt both foreign and intimate at the same time. Another crash of thunder echoed outside, violent and wild, rattling the stained glass windows. Emily jumped, her blood turning to ice. The lights flickered again, and in that instant, she caught a glimpse of movement and outline in the corner of her eye, drifting like smoke. "Who is there?" Her voice trembled, but she squared her shoulders, refusing to let fear conquer her. Nothing answered but her breath, quick and shallow, filling the silence like a storm. And then light. A soft glow emanated from the altar, pulsing gently, beckoning her closer. Against every instinct screaming at her to flee, she stepped forward. Each footfall echoed sharply, a heartbeat in the void. The flickering light danced across her face, illuminating her features in eerie shadows. She reached out, the warmth wrapping around her fingers as if welcoming her home. As she reached the altar, her pulse thundered in her ears. Words carved deep into the wood leaped out, "Strength is born of sacrifice." Emily's breath caught in her throat. This was it. The truth she sought, hidden in plain sight. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted sharply. The shadows around her coalesced, twisting and swirling, forming shapes that pulsed with a life of their own. They closed in, tightening like a noose around her heart. Fear surged, but so did anger at her own weaknesses, her failures. "Enough!" she cried, her voice ringing with newfound clarity. But the shadows laughed, mocking her. They flickered like flames, growing more restless, and she felt their icy breath on her skin, waiting for her next move. In that moment, she realized, this wasn't just a test of endurance. It was a challenge to confront her deepest fears, to face the painful truth of who she had become and what she must overcome. "Stop hiding!" she shouted into the void. "I will not be afraid any longer." The shadows twisted violently, the laughter turned to wails, and the room erupted in chaos. Emily felt the ground shake beneath her, as if the very church was coming alive, ready to hold her accountable. Was this the moment she had been preparing for? Would she wrestle the power of her doubts and transform them into strength? In that swirling chaos, a piercing light broke through, illuminating her path forward, but before she could step into that illumination, a voice, deep and ancient, thundered above the chaos. "What are you willing to sacrifice to emerge stronger?" The question hung starkly in the air, trapping her in a web of choices. Emily's heart raced. What would she give up? Freedom? Comfort? As the shadows roared in rebellion, she had one chance. One decision that could change everything. What would she choose in this moment of truth? Did she truly have the strength to face the darkness within her? And just as she steadied herself to answer, a thunderous crash echoed, shaking the very foundations of the church, forcing her to confront the unknown. Would her choice save her, or doom her to be forever lost in the shadows? The air thickened, and Emily could feel the shadows around her pulsating, hungry and restless, as if waiting for her decision. The altar's light flickered, its warm embrace threatening to extinguish as the dark surged around her, clawing at her resolve. She could hardly breathe. The weight of her past mistakes and failures shaped every thought, whispering doubts that clawed at her mind. "What are you willing to sacrifice?" The voice boomed again, and it felt like thunder rolling through her chest. Each word sank deep, pulling at her very essence. Fear hissed at the edges of her conscious mind, seeping in like poison. It was an ultimatum. Every part of her trembled at the implications. A flicker of movement caught her attention. She turned abruptly, and there, beyond the altar's glow, was a figure emerging from the darkness. It was a woman, her eyes shimmering like black pools, framed by long, dark hair that flowed around her like smoke. Emily squinted, trying to focus, but the woman's face morphed, twisting and shifting, reflecting fragments of Emily's own insecurities. "Who are you?" Emily's voice broke, filled with both fear and defiance. "A fragment of you, a version you've ignored," the apparition whispered, each word slicing through the air with an icy touch. "You banished me long ago, but I am here to help you confront your truth." "What truth?" Emily's mind raced. The shadows swirled with renewed ferocity, and outside, the tempest's fury roared on, as if the storm were a mirror to her turmoil. "What do you want from me?" she cried, pulling strength from the low rumble of her heartbeat. The apparition smiled, a sorrowful yet understanding gaze that seemed to peel away layers of her hesitation. "To be free, you must confront the pain you carry. The sacrifices you've made, the dreams you abandoned. They haunt you. Only by embracing this darkness can you step into the light." Emily's heart sank. There it was, the inflection point of fear and choice. But at what cost? The fragility of her voice betrayed her mind's turmoil. What could she possibly let go of? The shadows shifted like restless waves, creeping closer, eager to engulf her senses. For a fleeting moment, she felt the stifling urge to retreat, to run away from her own truths, back to a reality that felt far too comfortable. But she squeezed her eyes shut, conjuring the very memories she had tried to bury. She remembered the laughter of her parents, the soft warmth of their embrace, and the crushing loneliness that followed their loss. "I've buried it all, but I can't keep running. I choose to face it," she shouted into the void, her voice echoing defiantly off the ancient stone walls. The shadows recoiled as if struck, the woman's form dissolving into the light's warmth. There was a strange stillness, a moment suspended in time before an explosion of energy coursed through the church. The altar's glow brightened, illuminating the entire room, driving back the dark. The oppressive weight lifted slightly, but the pain of her choices remained palpable, thrumming like a heartbeat in the silence, but the question loomed larger now: what part of her remained in the shadows? Anxiety fluttered in her belly, and just as she gathered the courage to inquire further, the doors of the church flew open with a deafening bang. Wind howled, a chilling rush that swept through the sacred space, flickering the lights in desperate pleas, and through that gust, a voice echoed, clear and commanding. "Do you truly wish to have the strength to embrace your past? To wield it as a weapon instead of a weight?" Emily felt her heart pound louder than thunder, both fear and excitement coursing through her veins. The shadows danced once more around her feet, teasing her, murmuring promises of power but draped in dark foreboding. "What more must I sacrifice?" she whispered to the void, grappling with the spiraling uncertainty. As if in answer, the altar trembled beneath her, and a deep resonance filled the air. The finale was approaching, but Emily was yet to understand the true depth of the power she needed to embrace. Would she be ready for what lay ahead? The weight of her next choice hung heavily upon her shoulders, a shroud of uncertainty that threatened to consume her completely. In that moment, amidst the brewing storm and the shadows, she had to confront the most terrifying question of all: what was she willing to lose to finally break free? The altar trembled, shaking the dust off the stone floor, as Emily's breath quickened. The wind howled louder, swirling around her like a tempest of lost hopes and forgotten dreams. She could feel the energy in the room shift, the shadows retreating but lingering just at the edges, whispering secrets only half heard. The voice she'd heard earlier echoed through her mind, igniting a desperate urge within her. "Embrace your pain," it had said, but a chill gripped her heart. Did strength lie in such darkness? Or was it merely a trap, a way to ensnare her deeper into a cycle of regret? "Show yourself," she demanded, her voice resolute, cracking like thunder. The shadows shivered, recoiling slightly as if they, too, sensed the pressure in her words. In that defiance, something inside her began to awaken. Suddenly, a figure materialized from the depths of the darkness, a man this time. Tall and seemingly unaffected by the chaos around him, he stepped into the altar's warm light, a smile etched on his face. His eyes were piercing, yet they radiated a sense of calm. "Do not fear me, Emily. I am here to guide you," he said, his voice smooth and reassuring. "What you confront today will prepare you for what is to come." She took a step back, unsure of this new presence. "Who are you? What do you want?" "Just as the woman before you, I am a part of you. A version you've yet to meet." His words echoed in her mind, again familiar yet foreign. A shiver trickled down her spine. "What do you mean?" With a wave of his hand, the shadows parted, revealing a fractured mirror behind him. Inside, images danced, fragments of her memories, moments of darkness she had tried to suppress. The loss. The betrayal. The loneliness. Each shot struck closer than the last, a painful reminder of what she had hidden away. "You must understand your past, Emily," he urged. "Every hurt and every choice built you. It is the fabric of your strength. But you have treated it as a burden." "No," she interrupted, her voice rising. "I don't want to dwell on that pain. I don't want it." The man's smile faded. "You can't run from it. It will find you, rise up like a tide, dragging you under if you resist. You have the power to turn it into resilience or let it drown you." A wave of despair washed over her, and in that moment, the storm outside raged with a newfound ferocity. Emily's heart pounded against her ribs as if trying to break free. It felt visceral, raw, almost alive. "What will happen if I let it in?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The shadows danced again, swirling about her ankles, hinting at darker truths. "Strength will emerge," he replied abruptly. "But it comes with choices, with sacrifices." Emily's mind raced. What could she give up? Would it be worth the price? The fear of facing what lay beyond gnawed at her insides. Sacrificing memories meant losing pieces of her past, the only way she had defined herself. Suddenly, there was a crack of thunder, shaking the church's foundation, and for the briefest moment, the altar flickered. As the light pulsed, images twisted violently in the mirror, and she gasped at the shadows that formed around her. A handsomely familiar face, twisted in anguish, eyes pleading, her breath caught as she recognized him. No, not him. Tears threatened to spill, opening a wound she thought had turned to stone. Yes. His pain, like yours, is tangled in the decisions you've made. The man gestured toward the mirror. Facing this is the only way. You will find clarity, but clarity comes with confronting the darkness within. Emily grasped at his words like a lifeline. Confusion, fear, and a flicker of resolve churned inside her. Could she truly face it all? Could strength be forged in the fire of her pain? The storm screamed at the door, rattling the windows as if urging her to make a choice, an ultimatum echoing deeper than the one before. "Do you dare to tread this path?" he asked, his eyes locked onto hers. With the storm raging, she took a breath and slowly nodded, "I do." As acceptance washed over her, the air crackled with energy, the shadows swirling violently. Suddenly, from the mirror, a hand shot out, icy and desperately reaching, pulling her closer to the depths of her fears. Before she could react, the light around the altar sputtered and dimmed, as if the universe held its breath. And then everything went black. What awaited her on the other side of this darkness? Would she find the strength to face the faces lingering in her past, or would she be swallowed whole by that very same darkness she sought to conquer? Emily's heart raced as she plunged into the murky void, her thoughts spinning wildly. This darkness felt alive, encasing her in its cold embrace. She could no longer feel the cool stone of the altar beneath her, the howling winds, or the storm that had once rattled the church. Instead, she was submerged in an endless night, thick and suffocating. Moments stretched into eternity, and in that silence, a faint whisper echoed, a familiar voice that tore through the oblivion. "Emily, are you there?" The sound swelled and receded, like a breath caught in the throat of the night. She couldn't tell if it was her own mind playing tricks or something more profound beckoning her from the shadows. "Where are you?" she shouted, desperation rising in her chest. The shadows shifted again, silhouettes forming and fading at the edges of her vision. Her surroundings lightened just slightly, revealing ghostly faces swirling around her, each one a reflection of her fears, her regrets, those she had lost, those she had pushed away. No. This isn't real. Panic surged. Emily felt the walls closing in, the weight of her tribulations pressing down so hard it took her breath away. She saw him again, his eyes filled with pain and fear, hungering for resolution. It was as if the very soul of her past was laid bare before her, demanding attention. One by one, the memories manifested before her, vivid and real. A teenage version of herself, trembling after hearing those cruel words from someone she trusted. The image flickered, replaced by the moment she lost her mother, a dance of laughter frozen in time as grief consumed her. "You have to know this pain." The man's voice resonated through the darkness again. "You think ignoring it will shield you, but it only deepens the wounds." "Stop!" Emily screamed. She clutched her head, desperate to block it out. "I can't. I want to face it. Every escape is just temporary. You can break the cycle, Emily. All it takes is facing the truth." The shadows then surged forward, crashing together like waves, revealing not just memories but also choices, the paths she had taken, those she hadn't. The faces morphed, taunted her with thoughts. This was her chance to reclaim her past, yet it felt like a downward spiral into despair. As darkness threatened to engulf her once more, she caught a glimmer of light spiraling through the gloom. It emanated from her own chest, beating steadily. It surged brighter, illuminating the abyss around her. It wasn't a blinding light, rather, it felt warm, tinged with golden hope. Embrace it, that light is your truth, the man urged, now a firm presence behind her. Let it guide you through the darkness. With each breath, the warmth blossomed, pushing back the shadows inch by inch. She felt strength rising from within, the heaviness of her past slowly lifting. She could still hear the echoes of her dreams, her mother's laughter weaving through the chaos, reminding her of the love that was never truly lost. Don't turn away now. The man's voice commanded. In a moment of clarity, she reached out, grasping the light. No more running, she declared, her voice steady and powerful. She absorbed the light, letting it course through her veins, merging with every part of her being. The shadows screamed, twisting in fury as she advanced. Memories swirled around her, each face becoming clearer as they fell away one by one. Each step felt like reclaiming a piece of herself. Then, something shifted. A violent tremor shook the ground beneath, and the edges of the darkness unfolded, revealing a hidden realm. A doorway shimmered ahead, pulsating with that same brilliance that now filled her soul. Was this her new beginning? Or merely another trap disguised as hope? Emboldened, she dared to step forward, the whispers of the past growing fainter as anticipation surged in her chest. What lay beyond the door? Would she find the redemption she sought, or would she discover that the true battle was yet to come? Emily hesitated before the shimmering door, a knot of anxiety twisting in her stomach. Would she really step into the unknown, or would she pull back, letting fear drag her back into the darkness? Heart pounding, she pushed the door open. It swung wide with a creaking sound that echoed, revealing a landscape that twisted between reality and nightmare. The air shimmered with colors she couldn't name, brighter than anything she had ever seen, yet shadows loomed in the corners, threatening to consume her once more. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The moment her foot crossed the threshold, a jolt coursed through her body, electrifying her senses. The warmth from before intensified, enveloping her like a hug from a long-lost friend. But the shadows were not gone. They writhed just beyond her reach, as if waiting for her to falter. Emily! A voice cried out, forcing her to spin around. It was him again, that man whose presence both comforted and haunted her. His eyes held wisdom but reflected deep sorrow. You must confront your past, not run from it. This is not just a place of light. What are you talking about? She shouted, determination rising in her voice. I'm ready to fight. Show me what I need to do. Only you can decide how it unfolds. Each memory you embrace gives you strength, but it will not come without a price. His expression hardened as the shadows loomed closer, twisting around him. An ominous cloud brewed behind him, whispering secrets of despair. She felt the pull of fear again, but this time she gripped the warmth inside. Images began to flash before her eyes, faces of loved ones, moments of pain, laughter drowned in sorrow. Each emotion danced against her, begging for her acknowledgement. No, she muttered, shaking her head. No more avoidance. I can handle it. Strength comes from vulnerability, he whispered, his tone almost pleading. You have to feel, Emily. Only then can you break the chains that bind you. With resolve, Emily squared her shoulders and faced the swirling memories. She felt the heat build within, pulsing to the rhythm of her heart. The darkness surged, screaming secrets she had long tried to bury. But today, she wouldn't let it win. I am not afraid. She shouted into the void, her voice melding with the light. The colors around her flared, she pulled in the joy, the pain, the heart-wrenching memories. In that moment, it all exploded. She was standing in front of the last memory, her mother, healthy and smiling, dressed in her favorite blue dress. Mom! Emily gasped, reaching out, the vision flickered, the smile fading as tears welling in her eyes threatened to pour out. "You can't hide from this, Emily," her mother's voice echoed around her, ethereal yet grounding. "Face it, let me go, let yourself go free." "No," she cried, her heart aching, raw and vulnerable. "I can't. If I let go of you, I'll be nothing." The shadows circled tighter, morphing into tendrils, lashing out and threatening to pull her under. But the light within her surged brighter, reflecting her determination. "I'll fight. For you, for me." With that affirmation, she felt the light crackling throughout her body, breaking through the darkness like a sun piercing through the thickest fog. She pushed forward, hands extended toward the flickering image of her mother. The shadows writhed, but she didn't blink. Suddenly, a snap, louder than thunder, resonated in the air. The swirling shadows recoiled, pulling back as Emily stood in the heart of the light. The faces of her past flickered one last time around her, but she realized they were no longer enemies, they were simply part of her story. The landscape morphed, the menacing shadows thawing, revealing a path ahead. A bright voice called from that distance, a voice laced with kindness and love. "Emily. This way." But what lay at the end of this new path? Would she step into her true destiny or face new horrors lurking just beyond the horizon? Emily hesitated, staring at the beckoning path ahead. It glowed softly underfoot, pulsating like a heartbeat. Her heart raced, anticipation battling with dread. Each step felt consequential, where one misstep could plunge her back into the darkness. "Emily, trust your instincts." The man's voice reached her, urgent yet soothing. "The way forward will test you, but remember, you're stronger than you think." Taking a deep breath, she pushed down her fear. With her first step, a cascade of memories washed over her like waves crashing on a shore. Laughter from childhood echoed around her, intermingled with the bittersweet notes of unfulfilled dreams. Each step she took down the path flickered with colors, vibrant and deep, merging blissful reminiscence with sharp pain. "Focus, Emily," she muttered under her breath, grounding herself. She would not be swept away. Despite the shadows nipping at her heels, she was determined to progress. The path wound through tangible echoes of her past, swirling images that flickered to life. There, the living room where she had grown up, decorated in the simple charm of family memories. Next, the basketball court, filled with the sounds of cheering friends, her heart racing as she scored a basket. Those scenes brought pure joy, but they were accompanied by shadows lurking at the fringes of her vision, whispering reminders of loss and regret. Gradually, the brightness dimmed. The joyful scenes morphed into darker moments, the cries of her sobbing self after her mother's passing, the heavy silence of that empty house. The joy faded, leaving only a cold pit in her chest. "No. Not again," she whispered, backing away from the painful memories. "Embrace it, Emily." The man urged, his voice rising above the chaos. "Your mother's love is with you. It never left." She clenched her jaw, breathing deeply. "I can do this." She took a step toward the painful memories, fortified by the warm glow inside, ready to reclaim what she thought was lost. The shadows around her surged, slashing at her. They whispered lies, trying to sow doubt. "You think you're strong. You'll never be free. Those memories will haunt you." But it was now or never. Surging with newfound resolve, she waded deeper into the shadows, confronting the trembling visions. "You don't own me," she roared, the words exploding from her chest like cannon fire. In that moment of defiance, the landscape erupted. The shadows froze, the atmosphere crackling with energy. Color poured back into her recollections. Her mother's smile ignited a spark of warmth, pushing the cold back. "I love you, Emily. I'll always love you." The voice rang louder and propelled her forward. Suddenly, she felt something shift beneath her. A wave of power flowed through her, and she realized the shadows were not just threats. They were her past, the good and the bad woven together, part of her identity, and she could no longer afford to run. With trembling hands, she stretched toward them. "I'm taking back my strength," she declared, rippling light flowing from her fingertips, swallowing the shadows. They screamed, retreating as flashes of her mother's laughter echoed. But as the darkness dissipated, a pulsing rhythm began to echo from deeper within the path, a dark beat intertwined with the remnants of shadows. What was this new heartbeat, more sinister than before? Dread filled her. "Emily," the whispering shadows merged into one sharp voice, "we're not finished yet." The pathway twisted ahead, revealing a cavernous opening, filled with an intense, eerie glow. Was this the next trial or an inescapable trap? Emily's heart thundered in her ears as she took a hesitant step forward into the unknown. Would she uncover the truth, or would she plunge into darkness again? The questions loomed heavy as she ventured deeper, the shadows creeping back, threatening to snatch her away. What mystery waited in that haunting glow? The air thickened as Emily approached the cavernous opening, the eerie glow pulsating like a heartbeat, mirroring her racing pulse. The shadows skittered away momentarily, revealing rough stone walls that felt as alive as she did. A shiver ran down her spine. What lay ahead was not just a passage but a confrontation with something far deeper, an abyss that could swallow her whole. "Stay strong," she whispered to herself, lingering just at the edge. The glow beckoned, inviting yet foreboding. As she stepped inside, the walls echoed her footfalls, creating a symphony of loneliness. "What am I walking into?" She breathed out, her voice a tremor in the vast, empty space. Glimpses of shadows danced at the periphery, teasing her as she moved further. Then, from the darkness, a figure began to materialize. It was nebulous, shapeless at first, but as the light pooled around, it took the form of a woman, her mother, smiling gently. Emily's heart surged, warmth washing over her, only to twist into a knot of longing and sorrow. "Mom." Her voice was barely a whisper, cracking with emotion. Emily, the voice, soft yet resonant, enveloped her. "You've come so far, but this is just the beginning. You have to face what lies within." "But why? Why now?" Emily's fears resurfaced like shadows, twisting around her spirit. "Can't you just tell me everything will be okay?" Her mother's smile faltered, shadows flickered, and for a brief moment, Emily saw fragments of unfamiliar faces, pained eyes, haunted expressions. "Because you need to understand how to fight, not just for the light, but against the darkness." Each word held weight. Memories she hadn't addressed clawed at her subconscious, her fears, failures, regrets. What if I fail again? What if I'm not strong enough? Panic tightened her chest. Strength comes from facing what you fear, not avoiding it. Her mother's words pierced the veil of doubt. Turn around. With mounting dread, Emily turned to see the cavern swirling with shadows, but this time, they formed figures, her past selves, each bearing the scars of her memories. "You're scared," one whispered, echoing her insecurities. "You'll always be scared," another hissed, fangs bared in the flickering light. "No!" Emily shouted, clenching her fists. She felt the energy around her pulse, merging with her resolve. "You don't define me." The figures recoiled, their forms wavering as if she had struck them. The glow flickered brighter in response, feeding off her determination. "That's it. Embrace it," her mother urged, the light shimmering around her. As Emily focused on her fear, she felt it shift. Memories that had tied her down transformed in her mind. Each failure became a lesson, every loss a part of her strength. "I see you," she breathed, recognizing each shadow not as an enemy, but as a thread woven into the fabric of who she was. Suddenly, the ground rumbled beneath her feet, jarring her focus. The shadows chanted in unison, their voices raw and chilling. "You're too late. It's not your fight." Emily gasped. This was something newer, more sinister, the real enemy lurking, waiting to unveil itself. The atmosphere thickened, heavy with a dark presence that pulsed with raw emotion, simultaneously familiar and foreign. "What lies ahead?" she whispered as dread washed over her again. Was it truly the shadows she needed to confront, or something deeper, something that could unravel everything she believed about resilience? The shadows drew closer, converging around her in a tightening embrace. "Join us," they whispered, a cold breath against her neck. "Face the truth or be left behind." With a surge of defiance, she stepped forward, heart pounding, ready to break through the darkness. "No. I won't give in," she shouted, a spark igniting within, but just as determination fueled her advance, another shadow surged forth, towering and terrifying, splitting the light in two. "This is where it ends or begins," it growled, and the cavern echoed with its chilling threat. What dark truth would be uncovered in this pivotal moment? Emily's heart raced as the shadow loomed larger, its presence suffocating as it blocked the pulsing light that kept her anchored. She felt the weight of its gaze, an indescribable hunger flickering within its depths. Panic washed over her, yet she fought against it. "What do you want?" she called out, her voice trembling, barely rising above the rising tide of fear. "Your self-doubt is a banquet," the shadow hissed. "And you've served it well." Its voice was twisted, reverberating like the chime of a distant bell warning of an approaching storm. "You believe your struggles define you, Emily. Let me show you who you truly are beneath all the noise." The cavern buzzed, vibrating with unseen energy as Emily gripped her fists tighter, nails digging into her palms. "I know who I am. I'm done letting my past control me." The words pushed forcefully from her throat, battling against the darkness wrapping around her thoughts like an insidious vine, but the shadow laughed, an echo ricocheting off the stone walls. "You think denying your past will free you? It only buries your truth. Welcome to the depths of your despair." With that, the walls of the cave began to shift, twisting and turning, as if the very ground she stood on sought to swallow her whole. Images flashed in front of her eyes, fragments of her life flashing by like a film on fast forward. The heart-wrenching failure at her first art show, the feeling of her dreams crashing down around her like shattered glass. Moments of resentment. Regrets. Hitting her in waves that thundered against her resolve. Each pulse of memory lodged in her chest like a stone, heavy and unyielding. "No!" she screamed, the sound erupting from deep within her. The memories were strong, but so was she. With every ounce of awareness, she focused on a singular thought: I am stronger than my fears. The shadows trembled. "Foolish girl," the shadow replied, voice laced with danger. "Do you believe you can conquer me so easily? I am the echo of every fear you ever avoided. To be whole, you must embrace the darkness within." In that moment, the whispers around her transformed, shifting from chilling threats to haunting melodies of echoes of her past selves, now woven together into a different tapestry. "We are you," they sang, each voice harmonizing with her heartbeat. "Together, we are strong. You will never escape us. Accept us." Emily closed her eyes, stepping closer to the swirling mass of shadows. The memory of her mother's warmth emerged in her mind, grounding her as she remembered the love that sparked her first passion. "No, you don't control me," she reiterated fiercely, the light behind her rippling in response. "You are just pieces of my past. I choose how I define my future." With a sudden surge, the cavern quaked. The shadows recoiled, their shapes flickering violently. She hefted the weight of her truth, feeling its raw, unburdened strength flow through her veins. "You are not my enemy. You are a part of me, but I am more. I am not defined by past mistakes, I am defined by the courage to rise." Suddenly, the dark shadow twisted, screeching as if sliced by the very light it sought to devour. A crack formed in its mass, revealing a glimpse of something shimmering beyond something bright, beckoning in the distance, but just then, a deep rumble filled the cave, drowning out her thoughts and shaking the ground. "This isn't over." The shadow howled, blurring outward in a maelstrom of darkness, threatening to engulf her once more. The flickering light pooled at her feet as Emily stood at the threshold, grappling with what lay ahead. Another rumbling thunderclap echoed through the chamber, a warning tremor, vibrating with urgency, what awaited her on the other side of this fracture in the darkness? Would she sink or soar? The question clung to the edges of her mind as she took her first step into the unknown. The moment Emily crossed into the brightness beyond the dark fracture, a wave of warmth enveloped her. The shadows recoiled, their whispers fading into a distant echo. She stood on the threshold of a new realm, awash with light, colors vibrant against the stark darkness she'd just left behind. It felt like stepping into a canvas she had yet to paint, a life reborn. "Welcome," a soft voice beckoned. Emily turned, her eyes widening as her mother appeared again, but this time not as a shadow of grief. She wore a gown of light, her smile radiating love and acceptance. "You've come so far," she said, her voice a melody that wrapped around Emily like a comforting embrace. "But I just faced the depths of my darkness," Emily replied, her heart racing, still battling the tremors of fear and uncertainty. "Is it really over?" "No, my dear," her mother said, glancing back at the shadows lurking at the edge of the light. "The darkness will always be a part of you. Your journey isn't about eradicating fear but transforming it into strength." As they walked together through the radiant landscape, Emily noticed she wasn't alone. Other figures emerged, fragments of herself, the girl who used to hide in the shadows, each one glowing brightly now. "We've all been waiting for you," they whispered in harmony. "You fought your fears, and now we can stand together." A swell of gratitude welled inside her. "I didn't realize you were part of me," Emily breathed, awe in her voice. In facing her darkest moments, she had woven together the tattered strings of her life, each fear becoming a focal point for her strength. "Everyone has their shadows," her mother said, a knowing look in her eyes. "But it's how you embrace them that shapes who you become." Ahead, a path unfurled, a journey that intertwined their spirits and destinies. Each step shimmered with hope and resilience, and Emily felt lighter with every beat of her heart, unfurling with the realization that she could carry her memories and still move forward. "Together, we'll face whatever comes next," she declared, her voice echoing with newfound power. She felt the shadows behind her, no longer oppressive but rather a reminder of the battles fought, lessons learned, and dreams rekindled. As they reached the end of the path, a new horizon stretched before them, freedom filled with potential. "What lies beyond this moment?" Emily asked, looking toward her mother. "Your future," she said, radiant with encouragement. "Every day is a new brushstroke. You have the power to paint whatever life you desire, my dear. Embrace it." Emily stood tall, the weight of doubt slipping from her shoulders. She had emerged from the darkness, carrying only the truths of resilience and love. Life would still be challenging, but with the light of her past guiding her, she wouldn't have to fight alone. With one final look back at the shadowy remnants, she felt warmth radiate from within, a strength forged in honesty. "It's time," she whispered, stepping forward into the unknown, welcoming her future. As she crossed the threshold into a bright dawn, Emily realized she was not just stepping into another chapter, she was writing her own story. The shadows may linger, but they had lost their hold. This was her life, her strength, her choice, and with each stride, empowered by the wisdom of her shadows, she knew she was unstoppable. Now, remember, if you loved this journey, you need to subscribe immediately. Don't let this moment slip away. Missing out on our next exclusive stories is not an option. Smash that like button now, and share the love for the algorithm to help us spread this message. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Emily's incredible journey. Tell me, how do you draw strength from your own shadows? This is the moment to show your support. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us make this community stronger together.